It's 1908 and you're heading to a theme park, none other than Coney Island's Luna Park, and the first Virginia Reel coaster stands before you. This design of coaster seats riders in a large wooden tub with inward-facing seats, and, in classic coaster style, it had no seat belts and had a capacity of as many people as the operator could fit. The tubs could freely rotate on their chassis, so basically it was a Wild Mouse Death Trap edition. Then, the operator would push the tub until it reached an inevitably deafening lift hill, at which point it would ascend and then descend from the summit to a number of unbanked turns, just like a Wild Mouse, and then it would finish with a helix or two, and then that was your lot. The track style was wooden side friction, which meant the tubs would travel in a trench-like track, where wheels at the side and bottom of the train would roll down the edges of the track. The side wheels helped the coaster to traverse tight corners, as they distanced the tub from the track, thus preventing friction, so the ride would not grind to a halt with every turn. It was an incredibly innovative model for the time, as before, the main blueprint for roller coasters was the out and back wooden coaster layout, where the coaster doubled back on itself once before returning to the station, but this coaster had many switchbacks in its course. This coaster removed the need for simple hills to create thrills. It showed that it doesn't have to be from A to B. It can be from A to B with more spinning than is enough for one person for a year. It introduced the helix element, which has since advanced to be much tighter, but it made coasters much less bland. In fact, many would consider it to be a landmark in coaster innovation, for it reimagined the train design and definitely highlighted the need to employ embankments around wide bends, as seen in the helix, but the importance of using unbanked turns to create thrilling twists in the layout. But who was behind this coaster model since lost to time? Henry Elmer Reel. He was superintendent of Luna Park and named it after his daughter, Luna Virginia Reel. It seems like a lovely story, a piece of his daughter in the name of the coaster and coincidentally in the name of the park, but it's a shame the ride is so forgotten about and that the history is mostly unrecorded. But in 1922, it caught the eye of William Strickler, who presented the plans he had designed to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. William George Bean, owner of the Pleasure Beach at the time, was intrigued by the idea and so, motivated by the popularity overseas, imported a Virginia Reel. It would be one of the first investments from the park since the First World War, as I mentioned in my documentary on the park. It would go on to become a cult classic of the park, being beloved by those who got to ride it, with a local newspaper quoting it to be the best ride ever due to its simple, charming and fun nature. But by the time of its closure in 1982, it was the only full-scale model left. This is because of the rise of steel coasters popularised by the Matterhorn at Disneyland in 1959, which was the first coaster to have steel tubular track and allowed coasters to be more agile and fast. However, it wasn't the first steel coaster. That title goes to Montagne Suisse in France, which opened in 1928. But the nail in the coffin for wooden coasters, which unfortunately has led to them becoming rarer, was the ability to make easy inversions. While the first inversion made its appearance in around 1848 in France once again, it is much easier to create safe, smooth inversions with greater variation with steel coasters. Thus, in 1982 there was a significantly reduced audience for the Virginia Reel, and while the park is renowned for its ability to salvage vintage rides, such as the now 100-year-old Big Dipper which opened just a year after, it was this ride's time to go. Of course, the park wanted to follow suit with parks in the nation and across the globe, with more creative, fresh rides in the park. You may notice that the Virginia Reel was located by the Flying Machines, an area which has since been developed to contain the Ice Blast Drop Tower and the award-winning dark ride, Valhalla, which should be reopening this year, but we are waiting for confirmation. The reel had no place in the new development that started from 1980 and accelerated in 1991 when the funhouse, which occupied the land for Valhalla, burned down. But there is more on that in my full-length Valhalla video. Fans were and still are outraged at its removal, and I completely understand. I would have loved to have ridden this piece of coaster history, but alas, it was a bit of an eyesore amidst the modernising park. Plus, it was the era of the park when they began to use more creative names, rather than just calling it the model name, such as the pretzel ride, which was changed to the ghost train, roller coaster to zipper dipper, and now Blue Flyer. However, if you're still looking to get a ride on this model of coaster, there is a miniature Virginia reel known as the Tyrolean Tub Twist at Joyland in Great Yarmouth. So, while it is small and partially powered, there is still a model out there that is a slice of 1949 history. So, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for the recommendations to cover this iconic ride. I've discovered so much about a forgotten ride in this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it too, and if you did, feel free to like, comment and subscribe, and make sure to check out my history playlist to find out the history of the rest of the park with my short but in-depth videos. Thanks for watching, this is Just Talking, bye bye.